Cowards! Send me your champion!
Goliath!
Hangs in the balance. Again, I ask this question.
Bathsheba has arrived, and everything is about to change. If you thought David's battle with Goliath was his greatest challenge, think again, because what lies ahead isn't just war on the battlefield, but war in his own heart. The trailer for House of David Season 2 is here, and it's nothing like we expected. Power, faith, betrayal, this next chapter will push David to his breaking point. And if the first look tells us anything, it's that no one, not even David, is safe from what's coming next. So let's talk about it. Season 2 of House of David picks up right where the chaos left off. And from what we've seen so far, the stakes are much higher. David has already proven himself as a warrior, defeating Goliath and earning the respect of the people. But ruling, that's a different story. And the trailer wastes no time reminding us that David's path to the throne isn't a straight line. It's messy, political, and dangerous. From the moment the trailer opens, we feel the tension. Saul is still alive. The kingdom is divided. And David, once a shepherd boy full of dreams, now stands at the edge of real power. You can feel the weight on his shoulders. He's not just fighting to survive anymore, he's fighting to lead, and that comes with consequences. The trailer teases whispers of betrayal inside David's closest circle. The bond between David and Jonathan, once so strong, looks strained. And Saul? He's not finished. Even after everything, he's still clinging to the throne, and he's not going down without a fight. What really hits you is the emotional undercurrent. David's not just facing enemies with swords, he's facing doubt, regret, fear. The first season showed us a hero in the making. But season 2, this is where the hero starts to crack. And then Bathsheba appears. Her presence changes the entire tone of the trailer. She's not just a love interest, she's a symbol of temptation, of consequence, of a turning point in David's life that fans of the story know will lead to pain, scandal, and deep transformation. But here's the thing, this show doesn't just rush into drama for the sake of it. Just like in season 1, every decision, every moment feels intentional. It's not just about what David does, it's about what it costs him. And that's why Bathsheba's arrival is so important. We're not just watching a romance, we're watching a king's heart unravel. The trailer gives us glimpses of battle, yes, but it's the quiet moments that haunt you. A crown glinting in the firelight, a prayer whispered in desperation, a man staring at his reflection, wondering who he's becoming. The creators promised a deeper dive into David's inner world this season, and you can already tell we're going to see more of the spiritual warfare than ever before. That's the power of House of David. It doesn't just tell you a story, it makes you feel it. And season 2 is shaping up to be its most personal and painful chapter yet. This isn't just about a king. It's about a man caught between calling and desire, between glory and guilt. And the way the trailer sets this up, it's honestly chilling. Because we already know David wins battles. But can he win the war inside his soul? That's the real question. And from the looks of it, season 2 won't hold back. This chapter will test his faith, his friendships, and his future. And once Bathsheba enters the picture, nothing will be the same. If season 1 was about David rising, season 2 is clearly about what happens after the rise, when the crown starts to feel heavy and the people closest to you start to slip away. One thing the trailer makes painfully clear is that David is no longer just a humble shepherd stepping into greatness. He's becoming the man who will be remembered for both his victories and his sins. And it all begins to unravel as the pressures of leadership clash with his deepest vulnerabilities. The look in David's eyes in this trailer, it's different. Now, he's not just hungry for justice or honor, he looks haunted, like the weight of every decision is catching up to him. And then, Bathsheba. Her entrance is not loud. It's subtle, but it echoes like thunder. This is the moment where David's story begins to blur between triumph and tragedy. It's not just about desire, it's about consequences. We all know what her arrival will lead to, but watching it unfold in this version of the story with all the emotional complexity and spiritual tension layered in is going to hit differently, And if you think the fallout will be contained to just David and Bathsheba, you're wrong. The trailer hints that this moment will ripple across the entire kingdom. Allies become enemies. The lines between loyalty and betrayal start to fade. And for Jonathan, who has stood by David through everything, this new chapter may push their bond to the brink. There's a moment in the trailer, a quick glance, a cold silence that says more than words ever could. Jonathan sees David changing, and you can tell it scares him. That friendship which felt unbreakable in season 1 is clearly being tested now, and it's hard not to feel anxious about what's coming next. Meanwhile, Saul is not done. He may be weakening, but he's more dangerous than ever. The trailer shows him spiraling, paranoia, growing power slipping through his fingers, but still clinging to control. He sees David not just as a rival, but as a threat to everything he's built. And the fear in Saul's eyes, that's what makes him unpredictable. He's not trying to preserve peace anymore. He's trying to destroy David before it's too late, which means we're headed straight for war, both physical and spiritual. And in the middle of it all stands David, torn between the call of God and the call of his own heart. One of the most powerful things about House of David is how it never shies away from showing the cost of power. Season 1 gave us a glimpse of that cost, but now we're going to see it in full. The trailer shows us David in moments of prayer, moments of silence, moments of raw brokenness. He's still a man after God's heart, but now we're beginning to understand what that really means. It doesn't mean perfection, it means struggle, it means repentance. It means wrestling with your own failures while trying to lead a kingdom that doesn't forgive weakness. And that's what makes this story so timeless. We're not watching a fairy tale. We're watching a deeply human journey unfold in the most sacred, dangerous, and emotional way possible. There's a line in the trailer, barely audible, but it cuts deep. What kind of king do you want to be? And that right there is the heart of season 2. Because David has already won the people's hearts, now he has to fight to keep his own. And the more power he gains, the more isolated he becomes. It's a lonely road to the throne. And if this first look tells us anything, it's that the journey ahead is going to break him before it rebuilds him. If there's one thing that stands out in this new season, it's that David is no longer battling enemies on the outside, he's battling the war within. And this time, the stakes aren't just about protecting Israel or defending the throne, it's about preserving his soul. The trailer makes it clear that David is standing at a crossroads, and every step he takes could either lead him closer to redemption or drag him deeper into the shadows. You can feel the shift. The fire that once fueled him is flickering. The weight of past decisions is no longer just a burden, it's a threat. And as Bathsheba's presence grows, David's world begins to fracture. This isn't just about a forbidden love, it's about the unraveling of a man who once stood unshakable. The David we knew, the fearless warrior, the chosen king, is now facing something far more dangerous than Goliath himself. What makes this season so compelling is how personal everything feels. The battles aren't just fought with swords, they're fought in the quiet moments, in the stolen glances, in the lies that go unspoken. We see David surrounded by people who once believed in him, and now they're starting to question. Advisors whisper in corners. Soldiers hesitate. The kingdom once united is beginning to fracture under the surface, and David can feel it. He knows he's losing more than just political control. He's losing the trust of the people he loves most. And that's what hurts the most, because this time he can't just fight harder, he has to face the truth of who he's becoming. And then there's the prophecy. The trailer doesn't spell it out, but the signs are there. Visions, dreams, warnings from those close to God. David is being watched not just by his enemies or by his people, but by heaven itself. And you get the sense that a reckoning is coming. It's like the heavens are holding their breath, waiting to see which path he'll take. And that adds this spiritual pressure to everything we see. Every choice David makes now echoes far beyond the throne. It's eternal. And that's what sets this series apart from anything else. It's not just history, it's not just drama. It's a story of destiny and divine tension. The trailer also hints at something else, something darker. A betrayal, a hidden enemy within David's inner circle. It's only a flash, a look, a line half whispered. But it's enough to suggest that season 2 isn't just about temptation and guilt. It's about conspiracy. There are forces working behind the scenes to bring David down. not just because they hate him, but because they fear what he represents. And the terrifying thing is, some of those enemies might be the ones he still trusts. So while David is trying to hold himself together, someone is already laying the trap. And the way it's being built, slow, deliberate, and deadly. This is what makes House of David Season 2 feel so different. It's no longer just the story of a king rising. It's the story of a man being tested like never before. Tested by power, tested by desire, tested by betrayal. And the most suspenseful part? We don't know if he'll pass, because even though we know the biblical story, this series has a way of making it feel new, like anything could happen, like no one is safe. And that fear, that uncertainty, that spiritual weight pressing down on every scene, that's what makes it so hard to look away. This is not the story of a hero who wins every time. This is the story of a man who could lose everything. One of the most powerful things about House of David is how it never lets you forget that greatness comes at a price. And in Season 2, that price is steeper than ever. The trailer teases us with glimpses of a kingdom on edge. We see David on his throne, but he looks alone. The crown is heavy now. The cheers have faded. What remains is a man carrying not just the hopes of a nation, but the weight of his past. And while Bathsheba's entrance changes the emotional temperature of the story, it's the consequences that follow that truly shake everything. You can already tell. Her presence brings love, but it also brings judgment. From God, from the people, and from David himself. It's the moment his journey stops being about glory and becomes about consequence. What's so haunting is how the trailer shows David walking through halls that once echoed with victory, now filled with silence. He's surrounded by people yet utterly alone. And the fear isn't just about losing the kingdom, it's about losing himself. That's what makes this season feel so intense. We're not just watching battles play out on the field, we're watching a man try not to break. And in a world where kings are expected to be unshakable, that's what makes David's fallibility so human, so real. There's a scene just a second long where David locks eyes with Nathan the prophet, and in that one look you can feel everything. Regret, guilt, a warning. It's coming, and David knows it. And then there's Jonathan's absence. After their deep connection in Season 1, his silence in the trailer feels loud, painfully loud. It makes you wonder, has David already lost him? Or is he pulling away, afraid of what David is becoming? That brotherhood, that pure and powerful friendship, might be one of the biggest casualties of what's coming. And the fact that it's not clear where Jonathan stands now, that's what keeps us guessing. Because this season isn't just testing David, it's testing everyone around him. Loyalty is fragile, and in a kingdom full of whispers and secrets, nobody stays the same. We also can't ignore the spiritual pressure mounting in this season. The trailer leans into it more than ever. We see hints of divine wrath, storms, plagues, and shadows that seem more than just symbolic. It feels like God is no longer just guiding David. He's warning him, watching him, maybe even stepping back. And that distance between David and the divine is terrifying. Because what is a chosen king if the one who chose him begins to turn away? That's the question this season seems to ask, and it's a question with no easy answers. Every prayer, every silence, every tear David sheds carries the weight of a man who knows he's in danger of being forgotten by the very God who lifted him up. But even in the darkness, there's still that flicker of hope. Because David isn't just a man of power. He's a man of heart, and deep down he wants to make it right. The trailer doesn't show us how, but you can feel the pull, the struggle between what he's done and who he wants to be. That battle is still raging inside him, and maybe there's still time for redemption. But the clock is ticking, and as Bathsheba steps deeper into his life, as the kingdom starts to slip through his fingers, as enemies close in from within and above, the question becomes clear. Will David rise again, or is this the beginning of the fall? Season 2 of House of David isn't just promising a continuation, it's signaling a reckoning. And from what we've seen, this will be the season where legacies are tested, alliances are broken, and destiny no longer feels certain. Because what started as the story of a humble shepherd becoming king is now transforming into something deeper, something darker. David isn't just fighting to defend Israel anymore, he's fighting to defend his soul. And the trailer makes that painfully clear. Every shot, every line of dialogue, every quiet pause is screaming one thing the battles are, no longer just on the battlefield. They're inside the palace, inside his family, and inside his heart. The tension around David's relationship with Bathsheba is growing like a storm on the horizon. It's not just about attraction anymore. It's about the choices he makes once she enters his life. The trailer doesn't reveal everything, but the weight of their connection is undeniable. You can see it in how he looks at her, like he's seeing both salvation and destruction. And you can see it in her eyes too. Conflicted. Layered mysterious. This isn't a love story. It's a turning point, because after Bathsheba, David will never be the same. And the kingdom? It won't be either. What the trailer hints at, without ever saying aloud, is that this relationship will change everything. His judgment, his leadership, his relationship with God, and most painfully, his relationship with himself. The consequences begin to ripple quickly. You can almost feel the ground shifting beneath David's feet. Advisors who once stood by him are shown whispering behind closed doors. Warriors who once followed him without question now seem hesitant. And the people? They're watching. The same crowds that once sang his name are now silent, or worse, suspicious. The trailer doesn't show an uprising, it doesn't need to. The danger is in the stillness. The fear is in the quiet glances, the hushed tones, the empty corridors. That's the genius of the show. It doesn't need to explode to feel explosive. Every small moment feels like it could be the last before everything shatters. And let's not forget about the enemies gathering in the shadows. The trailer offers a brief flash of a new figure, one we haven't seen before. His face is half hidden, but the message is clear. David's power is being challenged, not just by his own people, but by those outside the walls. And if we've learned anything from season 1, it's that every challenger forces David to confront a new side of himself. This time, it won't be a giant with a sword. It'll be someone smarter, someone patient, someone who knows David's weaknesses better than David does. And that's what makes this season so dangerous. The threat isn't obvious. It's hidden. And that means David might not see it until it's too late. At the same time, we're also promised more of David's spiritual descent and potential redemption. The trailer reveals haunting glimpses of him praying alone, crying out in anguish. But this isn't the boy who once sang psalms in the wilderness. This is a king wrestling with guilt, shame, and the unbearable feeling that maybe he's lost favor with God. And yet in that suffering, there's still something deeply moving. Because David keeps reaching. He doesn't give up. He questions, he struggles, but he keeps searching. That's what makes this story so relatable. Not the power, but the pain. Not the victories, but the vulnerability. And in a world where kings are often portrayed as cold and untouchable, House of David dares to show us a leader who is broken, yet still beloved, flawed, but not forgotten. There's also something incredibly compelling about the show's direction this season, the way it weaves politics, faith, family, and identity together without ever losing focus. From the moment the trailer begins, you get the sense that we're being pulled into something bigger than just a historical drama. This is about legacy, about the way a man is remembered, about the choices that echo long after the crown is gone. David's battles are no longer confined to swords and shields. Now every word he speaks, every decision he makes, every relationship he builds or breaks will define the legacy he leaves behind. And that's what makes this season feel so urgent, so alive, so full of stakes. The music in the trailer alone builds this sense of unstoppable momentum. It starts soft, almost mournful, and then builds into something powerful, something intense. It mirrors David's journey perfectly, from the quiet regrets to the thunderous decisions. And by the end of the trailer, you're not just wondering what will happen, you're feeling it. In your chest, in your gut. This isn't just storytelling, it's emotional warfare. And the show knows exactly how to draw us into that storm. What's most exciting is that we still don't know how far the show is willing to go. The trailer teases so much, but answers nothing. It's like standing at the edge of a cliff. You can see the drop, feel the danger, but you don't know when you'll fall. And that's what makes it brilliant, because now we're left with 100 questions. Will David lose the people's trust? Will his love for Bathsheba ruin everything he's built? Will Jonathan return? And if so, will they still be on the same side? And perhaps the most terrifying question of all, will David's connection to God survive this chapter of his life? House of David. Season 2 isn't just another season. It's a test of faith, of friendship, of power, of character. And as the release draws closer, we're left wondering not just what David will do, but who he'll become. Because if the trailer is any sign, we're not just watching history unfold. We're watching a heart unravel,